interview edition of the Fan Connection. We got CT Matlock here today with us. Welcome, CT.
Thank you guys for having me on the show. I appreciate you having me here.
No problem, man. So, we want to start off with an easy question.
All right.
How old were you when you began wrestling?
I was 23 years old. I started training back in July of 2023, and I had my first match in September of 2023. So I started when I was 23. I've been in the business about a year now. So, man, it's been a crazy year. It really has. I mean, it
made a lot of progress in that year.
Yes, I sure have, man. It's been wild. It's been wild. So 23 when I started. I'm only 24 now. So, to be in this business 1 year, it's been crazy. It's been wild.
Who's your favorite wrestler growing up? Like, who gave you inspiration?
Man, I'm going to be so cliche right now, but you see how tall I am. I wonder if you guys can guess.
I call Rey Mysterio.
You're right. It was Rey Mysterio, man. He was my first big inspiration. When I saw him as the underdog, with me being so small as a kid, even as a child, I was aware that I was a lot smaller than everybody else. So seeing a little guy like that on TV, especially a wrestler, with how much I loved wrestling, that was such an inspiration to see somebody like him rise to the occasion and prove that people like him, people like us, the smaller folk can do it too, you know. And he was my biggest inspiration. But I'd also have to say AJ Styles. You know, he was a real big one for me. But yeah, man, Rey Mysterio and AJ Styles, growing up, those were my two biggest idols. And I take a lot of inspiration from them even now. So.
And both guaranteed legends.
Absolutely,
yeah,
man.
Sure.
Absolutely. Made a lasting impact on me. Absolutely.
So, who was your first ever opponent? And do you recall that match well?
I sure do, man. My first ever opponent was actually Alabama Pro Wrestling Hall of Famer Joshua O'Hagan.
Wow.
Yeah, he sure was. That was my first opponent, man. I recall the match. It was tough. It was difficult to step into my debut match against a man of that caliber. I wasn't ready. I wasn't up to par. I mean, hell, the match was a middleweight championship match for my debut. I was not ready for that match, but I was put into position. I did what I could. I tried to rise to the occasion. Unfortunately, I came up short, but, you know, I've been fighting ever since, trying to make my way back to that middleweight championship that I debuted for, and one day I'm going to get it. One day I'm going to get it.
I have confidence you'll win, bro.
I appreciate that.
That's on the list. I know it's on the list.
It sure is, man. It sure is.
So, what's something you're currently trying to add in your arsenal as CT Matlock? I know you got all these special moves. What's something you're trying to add in that arsenal?
So I've got two new finishes that I'm actually currently working on. One of them is a Hurricane Rana driver. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. Basically, I get the opponent down on their knees. I hit a Hurricane Rana, but instead of having them flip and instead of trying to send them over for a roll, I just drive their head into the mat. So it's just a quick, snappy, low to the ground Hurricane Rana, crushing their head into the mat. And I'm also trying to add a Shining Wizard into my arsenal. So just that big jumping up kick to the side of the head.
Yeah.
I'm working on adding that as well. Those are two moves that I'm working on, and I think that's going to make a big difference in my move set and how I can put these guys down.
That'll be really impressive.
Absolutely.
So, do you have a dream match? Is there anybody you'd like to face?
Man, what a question. I can't even tell you how many dream matches I have, but the moment you ask a question like that, your brain goes blank. But man, there's so many. Man, if I'd have to say one of the biggest dream matches I have is against Will Ospreay. I mean, if one day I had the opportunity to face him, that would be one of my biggest moments. If I had the opportunity to be in the ring with AJ Styles or Rey Mysterio, people like Ricochet. I mean, there's just so many. I can't even sit down and explain to you what kind of dream matches I have. But one's closer to the timeline now, I'd say, in the position that I'm in right now. I'd like to face Justin Flo. I would like to face, let's see, who else? I'd like to be in a singles match against Ron Sinju. He's a member of the Irish Brotherhood along with Joshua O'Hagan. Let's see, there's so many more, man. I'd really like to wrestle Cabana Man Dan. I feel like he'd be an incredible opponent. We'd put on such an incredible match. man, I just can't tell you how many dream matches there are, and I'm on the road to making them happen.
Can't wait to see it.
I
Yeah, me
appreciate
too,
that.
man.
Thank you.
So in your entire run as a wrestler, how many titles have you won, and what was your first?
Well, I've actually only won one championship, but it was actually this one right here that I'm holding, the AWL New Division Championship. This was my first title. I won it at in-game against Hacksaw Brown.
Congratulations.
Thank you, I appreciate that. So I've held this title a little while now, and man, it's been a good run. I've had a good run with it. I'm proud to have this as my first title. I'm proud to represent AWL. As you can see, I'm wearing the colors right now. You got to represent the green, man. We love this place, and I'm very thankful for it. It's a place I won my first title, and it's always going to have a special place in my heart. It really is.
Yep, sir.
Yes, sir.
So back in the day, were you team WWE, ECW, or WCW?
I was definitely team WWE as a kid, mostly because that's what I saw on TV growing up. That was the main form of wrestling that I was able to take in. But I was also a very big TNA kid. I loved watching AJ Styles. I loved seeing the six-sided ring. I mean, that was such a crazy thing to me as a child.
So
and,
different.
Yeah, but now that I'm a little older, I love going back and watching WCW. One of my favorite matches of all time is DDP and Sting for the world title. I mean,
Good
amazing match. And I love going back and watching Ray back when he was a little bit smaller and still more of a cruiserweight, a little leaner, you know, whenever he was able to pull off even crazier stunts. I love that. One of the most entertaining things I've ever seen. But man, I could probably take a little bit from each of them. I can't really say I just love one. I love them all, but I mean, WWE was probably my main one just because that's mostly what I was able to watch.
So WWE was easily accessible.
Absolutely.
I mean, but there's plenty to watch on those other brands, and now in this day and age, the stigma's kind of been removed of talking about these other places.
That's right, yeah.
And you know, not happen to be one or nothing.
Exactly. And that's what I love, how everything is changing now. Wrestling is becoming more open-minded. Everybody's starting to see that if we just work together, we can make this thing fucking awesome. I mean, it doesn't matter what company you're in. It doesn't matter who you wrestle for. We're all just trying to have a good time. We're all trying to make a living off this. We all love it so much. And if we're all doing good, I mean, what's the issue? Why does there have to be this unnecessary fight between all of these different promotions? I mean, imagine what wrestling would be like if everybody was just unified and everybody could work together. It would be such an amazing thing. So I love seeing how wrestling is starting to become that a little more every year. You know, it's changing, man, and it's cool to see. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, well, that's probably it for this interview. We appreciate you coming, man.
Yeah, man, I was happy to be here. Thank you for having me on the show.
Bringing your
Thank
title
you so
with
much.
us, see
Sir,
everything, man.
absolutely.
But until the next interview, that's it for us.
Yes, sir. Thank you.